Hi everyone, this is Elle from KindMind, and as some of you know, I'm a licensed therapist and a co-founder of our app. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I don't know why we haven't talked about sooner, but which is how KindMind can benefit clinicians, therapists, psychiatrists, whatever the title you go by in your mental health field, but people who would work on the app. So this is something that I think will be a beneficial video for not just clinicians, but also for the patients to learn a bit about why this can be helpful for them and why clinicians might seek out the app and might prefer to work on the app. So tune in and we'll talk about this. I'm going to link down below a video of our tutorial that I did very quickly, very casually, of me going through the most recent version of the app. There will be an even more recent version of the app sent out for the beta test, but the most recent version of the app at that time. Because I can't really show you the video, I can't show you the app on my phone at the same time. It'll kind of like blur out. So I just want to talk about the features instead. So as the mental health practitioner on the team, as the chief mental health officer, as we call me, one of my tasks is really making sure that the app is beneficial, not just for the patients, which is something that we talk about a lot, but for the clinicians as well. We want people to come to our app and we want it to improve their practice, to improve their lives. As some of you know, if you're working in private practice, that can be very expensive. It can mean paying for office fees, renting them, owning them. That's not cheap, especially in New York or in other major cities. Some other people, they might have it in their own home, which that has its pluses and minuses as well, as you can imagine. So in that sense, then you also have to pay for a secretary, sometimes, depending on how big your practice is. All of these things that allow for the expansion of a private business, these are all eliminated on the app. Why? Because one, you don't need an office space. You can do this in any private setting and conduct your therapy there. Two, we do all of the kind of secretarial work. We have a really great scheduling system, which we are so happy with and spent a lot of time and energy in developing to get right. So it makes it easy for the clinician and the patient to schedule appointments. In addition, we also are handling the payment on the app, so there's no awkward conversation at the end of your session of, okay, that'll be $25 or whatever the amount is. Here's a tissue. Like, sorry for cutting you off. It's awkward. We're in the helping field because we want to help people. Most people are not in the field to make money, so having to have that conversation with someone sometimes after you've just talked about something really emotionally charged does feel awkward. It sometimes feels inappropriate, but we don't really have much of a choice, even if you take insurance, because insurance usually has a copay. So the app eliminates that and makes it so that the therapist and the patient can just focus on that, and all that other stuff is something that we'll handle. You also don't ever have to have that conversation of, hey, where are your payments? Or, hey, what's going on with this? Because with the app, you pay before your appointment. Of course, we would not, the fee would go away if you were to cancel your appointment or something like that. So all of that is handled in addition to the whole 24-hour fee. So as you know, a lot of places, including doctor's offices or even massage parlors, any place where you have an appointment, if you don't cancel 24 hours in advance or 12 hours in advance, whatever their policy being, sometimes even 48, you are charged. Sometimes the full fee, sometimes half, sometimes a set amount. And with KindMind, we handle that as well, which again is an awkward conversation for people in the helping field to have with their patients who might be struggling financially, and you know that, or are just going through a hard time. It's not really something that you want to talk about. So for me, that is a major advantage of the app and is really exciting. Of course, a really great addition to the app is that we get to expose clinicians to patients that they might not have otherwise been exposed to. A lot of times people find their therapist through word of mouth, which is great. We're definitely not against that, and that will continue on the app. If you see, Joe Schmo, the therapist, and you recommend him, and that person goes on the app and finds him, that's great. That can still happen. People also usually find it through insurance, which also can happen through the app. You can certainly call your insurance company and find out a recommendation as to who is covered, and then check them out on our app. That also happens. However, we have our search feature. Our search feature limits people down to their specialties. It limits them to the area. It limits them to the insurance, of course, or whether they take insurance, price range, male, female, or gender identity in general. All of these different things are covered in the app. So it really helps not just the patient find the therapist that is right for them, but it helps therapists find the patients that are right for them too. So that's a really great thing as well. And of course, people using the app are now more likely to see a therapist that is a little bit farther away. I live in Brooklyn. Would I want to go to a therapist all the way up in Syracuse, New York or something? Definitely not. But with KindMind, you can do that. And for people in New York, that might not be something that, New York City, that might be something that is not something that they do often, but maybe you'll go see someone in the Bronx, or maybe it'll just be easier for you after work to go see your therapist and to stay committed. Because the reality is, it's hard to stay committed to anything nowadays, let alone therapy, where when you're feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, you really don't want to get out of bed or do just another thing, because everything feels so overwhelming. So we want to take that away. So what that means is, for therapists, the commitment to the therapy by their patients is increased. That means more appointments kept, and all of those things are really great for not just the treatment, but also financially for the therapist. So going back to kind of therapists meeting patients, another thing that was really important to me was how we did the profiles. If you go on your website for your insurance, you're just going to see perhaps some specialties, but a lot of times therapists will choose 100 billion specialties, because we do often deal with a lot of different things. And you're not really going to see much more information than that. You might see their credential, which is great, but for a lot of people that doesn't really mean anything. So we wanted people to have the personality of their therapist on the page. So for me, that's really exciting for therapists to be able to present themselves in a way that really will engage the patients that are right for them. So as some of you might see on the profile or on other versions of advertisements that we've done of the app so far, you will see that there is a video profile for the therapist, which I've done. So each therapist is required to record a short video, and that can be as casual as this sort of video, or it can be, of course, something produced nicely if they would like. And it's to talk about what they do in their practice and who they are. And sometimes it's not really what's said, it's the way that you say it that matters. Sometimes, the way that you talk, it can be a little too much for a patient. Everybody has a personality, and it's okay for somebody's personality to not jive with another's. That's something that as a therapist I've, made peace with. I've realized, what, not everybody's going to like me. Some people, they're going to take one look at me and they're going to think, that girl will never understand anything that I go through. And they might be right. They might be completely wrong, and then they give me a chance and then they see that's not true. But sometimes it's just about that feeling. It doesn't even really matter what the truth is at the end of the day. What matters is the patient feeling comfortable, the patient feeling safe, and being able to make progress. And we want people to see people, and even if it's just the tone of their voice reminds, them of their mom or someone comforting to them, that's something great that we want to do, because the reality is patients go to a billion therapists all the time. They go to one appointment. I've actually done this myself, and I know other people have as well. And they say, they were nice, but I don't know, do I really want to spend blank amount of money every week to see them? And the answer is no. It's a commitment. It's hard. And of course, I always encourage patients to give therapists a chance, but I also understand the reality being that if something doesn't feel right, you shouldn't have to force it. You should be able to find someone that at the bare minimum you feel comfortable around. They don't have to, have lived the same life that you have. They don't have to look like you. They don't have to do any of those things, but at the bare minimum, you should feel comfortable around them. And if a small video makes you feel safe enough to set up that appointment, that to me is so exciting. And it's not even just about the compatibility of the therapist and the patient. It's also about encouraging patients that are otherwise scared to come to therapy to do so. So that too is an opportunity for the therapist to really show what they have to offer in a video, as opposed to just saying, I graduated from here, I have this degree, which doesn't necessarily mean anything to a lot of people, and also doesn't necessarily mean anything about the talents of the therapist. They get to show who they are, and at the end of the day, that's what you're bringing into the room as a therapist, and that is what the patients are wanting from the clinician. It's just the personality, the feelings that somebody cares about them. So we wanted to make that possible, and that's something really exciting for us. We also have other features on the profile to make it more exciting as well, but the main feature that's different than anything else out there, I would say, is us requiring a video profile. The other features, and I know this is getting to be a very long-winded video, but the other features that we have that are beneficial for clinicians right now are the fact that we have a community forum, which is, of course, for patients and clinicians to engage in if they would like. And that forum is for people to talk about anything that is related to mental health, whether it's how to help a friend or whether it's I'm going through a tough time. What do you guys find helpful? So all of those things are in the community forum. Why is that beneficial for clinicians? This is beneficial for clinicians because it keeps patients engaged. We want to create an atmosphere of community. We want people to feel a part of something. That is so important no matter what mental illness that you have or no matter what you're going through, even if it's just a tough time and not a mental illness altogether. People want to feel part of something. This is what makes people, isolate when they don't feel a part of something. So when they go away from their appointment once a week and they can go to that community forum and connect with people that are understanding of them, when they can just go and read things that normalize what they're feeling, all that stuff is really exciting for me because it means that the patients continue to stay engaged. It makes it easier for them to improve, and it makes it easier for the clinician to keep the patient engaged. And then lastly, of course, we have really exciting mood monitoring, which we are making so cool. I'm so excited. We've actually pushed, the beta test a little bit longer in order to have these features, and I could not be more excited by them. We really have what I would say gamified mood monitoring. We've made it fun, we made it exciting, because I don't know if you guys out there as clinicians or patients or whatever you would like to call yourself have ever done mood monitoring, but it can be hard to stay committed. It can be really rewarding, and you can say, wow, I'm really glad that I've been, tracking my progress, just like tracking your progress in anything in life is beneficial. But the reality is it's hard to stay committed when you don't necessarily see that progress on a daily basis. If you record your mood yesterday, you're not going to today feel like, wow, that was so great. I feel so much better. What's going to happen is in a month, when you look at all the days that you monitored your mood, that's when it becomes beneficial. So we understand that that's hard for people. So what we've done is we've made it fun. We've made the achievements possible where you can win emojis depending on, if you've been monitoring your mood every day, if you've engaged with other features. We've also made it so that you can monitor your mood in various different ways. We, of course, have just the typical one where you can click on it. We're going to have voice recognition. We also have, of course, where you can talk about who is affecting your mood, putting in different people in your life that you talk about a lot and being able to click on, okay, this person is affecting my mood this week. We also are connecting drawing features so people can draw their mood. Not everybody's a verbal person. Of course, we also have the very typical diary feature so people can write all these notes. And then it is so beautiful. It comes into a beautiful graph, and you can click on a day from a year ago and you can see a picture that you drew. You can see the people that you said affected your mood. All of these really great mood tracking, mood monitoring features. And again, why is this important for clinicians? It's important for clinicians because, one, we make it accessible for the clinician to see this with the patient's permission, of course. And that way the clinician can engage with the patient and say, hey, I've been noticing, this last week you've been reporting a lot of low moods. What's going on? In addition, it also can help, again, keep patients committed. I don't want to go into a whole video about how patient ambivalence or about how patients not staying committed to therapy can harm their progress, but this is a very real thing. And I think we all can relate to it as patients as well. We stop going, and then maybe we don't feel as well anymore, or we just wonder, oh, I wonder if I would have felt better if I continued with it. I know I should have. We all have things like that in our life, whether it's the gym, therapy, whatever. So having that mood tracking where you can see the results of your therapy working or not working, meaning you need to make an adjustment, all of that keeps patients accountable in a way that otherwise, you would have just had to assign homework. I've done that with patients where you just say, hey, I want you to track this. I want you to write this down every week. Do your own sort of mood diary. And now you don't have to do that. Now it's in the app for them. It's fun. And then they can talk to people in the community forum about what they're noticing and what they're feeling. So all of that, I think, makes this app really great for clinicians. I hope you agree as well. I certainly could talk about this for hours. I already have talked about this for almost 15 minutes now, so I'm going to cut off. But please send me messages if you have any questions about it. I would love to engage with you personally. And take care. sign up for our beta test as a clinician or a patient, and we will see you soon. Mwah.